So let's move on. We're going to wide receivers next. There are a ton of names on this list.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's worth
Yeah.
saying all of them, but just so if people want to look at them real quick, we can just go and talk about. I think this is the deepest position in this draft. I
Yeah.
put top round options, but I left off a bunch of names at the beginning that I don't think would be available for the Steelers at 20,
Yeah.
or guys that I don't think they would pick. At least I think four names that I left off this list completely on the top end. And then these late round guys, I put up what we have on late round. There's 7 guys right there. There was another 15 guys
Yeah.
that probably were willing. I'd be willing to put on this list, but I had to stop somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'll go first with my top round option. I went with Keon Coleman out of Florida State. He's currently has a grade of a second round. I think Keon Coleman's my guy. Who did you pick out of the top round options at receiver?
Yeah, I went with and I might butcher this, but Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. Texas definitely had a great season this past college season. He's graded first or through the first or second round, number 33 overall. Again, the Steelers. One of the better teams when it goes to drafting wide receivers. And I don't think I agree with you. I don't think it should, a wide receiver, should be somebody that they pick in the first round. I think, definitely second or later on. I mean, the Steelers, even with all the names that that were on that list, in that article, I think the Steelers could definitely draft somebody great, but I think this would be one of my top round options to pick. He led the Big 12 in touchdowns in 2023 this past season. He's a very long, limber, and loose athlete and able to, have a quick acceleration to be able to get to his top speed. So, the Steelers are great with picking fast receivers and, receivers that can definitely make a lot of plays. I mean, you could look at the history of the Steelers and the wide receivers that they have drafted and who has played for that team. So, even if they don't get, somebody like him in the second, round or third round, I definitely think the Steelers will definitely be able to pick somebody up later on.
Yeah, like I was just saying about the depth. I think this is a position, and given the Steelers' history, I just if they get a first round receiver here, unless it's a guy who really falls, but then you got to ask why he fell. I think you got to skip on a first round receiver here. So let's move to these other options later on in the draft. I went with Jalen McMillan out of Washington. He's at a third to fourth round grade. Another guy where you might have to reach for him because I think he's a 3-year starter. He ended up his career with over 2,000 yards, 17 TDs. He missed the last few games of this year with a knee injury. Maybe that's why he's here in a third, fourth round pick. Because I thought when I hear the name, I'm thinking he's a little bit higher. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I've been missing out. Maybe it's also because of the thing I have there at the bottom. And Lee, I know you hate the drop, so he does have drop issues in college. Hopefully that's something you can figure out, but who knows for sure what's there. He also is a guy who does play mostly out of the slot. Maybe he can fill in for what you're losing with Deontay Johnson. I think there's something there for that. You can play him a little bit around. But yeah, I went with Jalen McMillan out of Washington as my mid-round option at receiver. What do you got here for us, Lee?
Yeah, I got Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina, who's graded in the third round, which, again, I think would be a great pickup for the Steelers in the third round with one of those two picks if, he's available. He's a 4-year starter at South Carolina, and he led all Power 5 receivers with receptions of 50-plus yards last season. So definitely somebody that can get the ball and make some plays deep or, a lot of, yards after the catch. He had a career year last year with being the second person to surpass 1,200 receiving yards for the school, behind Alshon Jeffrey, who's a starter, who was a starter at one point in the NFL, so is a name that people know. So, I think this could be definitely a nice pickup for the Steelers. Again, like you just said, I think this is definitely the biggest step for this year, wide receiver wise. With a lot of players being available in this draft pick. And again, the Steelers are great with picking wide receivers. So, even if any of these guys aren't available, I know the Steelers will definitely be able to pick somebody up because they do their research and they're able to get the right guys that they need for the team.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I honestly have full confidence in them finding a receiver in the draft, and I look forward to seeing who it is. I know they'll be doing their homework. I don't think it needs to be a first or a second round guy. You got 2 picks in that third round. Maybe you got to use one of those. The 80, I think it's 84 and 98. I think that's what we're at. Those are the picks there. Get someone there. If you don't get someone there, you got a guy in the fourth. I'm even happy there. I trust the process, and I think they'll find a
Yeah,
good receiver there.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I agree with you.